Dear viewers, a very happy new year to you all and welcome to the one-on-one set. Our guest tonight is Nabila Fakira. She is a neuropsychologist and tonight we are going to talk about an interesting topic which is the link of personality and happiness. We all want more well-beings in our life, but which traits allow us to be more associated with well-being? Nabila will give us more insight tonight during this episode. Nabila, thank you so much for joining us in the studio of the MBC.
Thank you very much, Koya, for inviting me, and Happy New Year to all.
Happy New Year, Nabila.
Thank you.
And Nabila, we all have heard the comment that it's important to have a good personality, or someone have said to us, you have a great personality. But what does that comment really mean? And what is the implication of one's personality to well-being? Explain to us, first of all, what personality refers to.
Actually, personality, as you've mentioned, a lot of people will tell you you have a nice personality, etc. But in essence, personality refers to the way we think, to the way we feel towards other people, to the way we value other people. In a sense, it's everything that's inside us and how we relate to the outside world. And this is the basic understanding of personality. To give you an example, if I'm very open inside, I like to talk to people, I have the belief that yes, we are close to each other, we'll have fun, life is a good place, etc. When I will communicate to other people, what will happen is I would translate this, I would communicate this, I would value friendship. So then I shape my personality. In the contrary, if not in the contrary, but people who are introvert, they believe in peace, being with oneself, loving oneself, and the way they will communicate it with others will be different. So this is what makes personality.
Okay. And what are the causes actually for people to be extrovert or introvert?
Actually, it is the way we have been exposed to the world. Let's say you are a child and you grow up in a certain environment and you start building your beliefs, your thoughts, your mind, your internal representation of the world based on your upbringing. Then you start developing what we call, the schemas in our head, how we relate to things. Now, when this happens, we start building our behavior based on that. Once we do this behavior once, it works. We do it twice, it works. And then it becomes a habit. When it becomes a habit, it becomes automatic. Then our behavior, our thoughts becomes unconscious, automatic. With time, as we grow up, it becomes like a pattern. And this pattern is what makes our personality.
Okay. And actually, there are different types of personality, not only extrovert or introvert. Some researchers talk about the big five. Would you like to tell us more about it?
Actually, the big five is, after many research, they've come up with 5 traits of personality. And this allows psychologists, mental health coach, and other practitioners to understand why a person is doing what they're doing. And to narrow it down, the big 5 refers to openness. So you are open to experience, open to new challenges, open to new adventures, open to new connections, etc. And then there is the second part, extraversion. As we all know, you are an extrovert, you are an introvert. So extraversion refers to being people oriented. Like you need people around you to feel recharged. And then there is agreeableness. So these people with these traits, they are not mismatches. So if you say something, they will agree with you. They will understand your point. But as compared to people who doesn't have these traits, they will tend to mismatch. So if you say A, they will say Z. I'm doing this. No, this is not good. You have to do it my way. So that's the distinction. And there are other traits like neuroticism, where a person, not necessarily they are bad people, but based on their past experiences, they've developed that neurotic trait where they see the world quite negatively, where they see other people's quite negatively, and their approach to the world is very pessimist, very distant, very, as we say, negative. And then there is consciousness that refers to us being very, you know, um, we go to our routine, we follow strict,
Be
be
aware.
aware that I have a goal, I need to work towards my goal, and I need to do this. I'm very time conscious. So these people are very organized, very good workers, good students, etc. So these are the 5 traits, but it doesn't only we are not only talking about these 5 traits as we talk about personality. Personality is very vast. Personality is, human nature is complicated. We can't just restrict ourselves to the big 5, to 5. Okay,
Exactly.
maybe they are the most commonly used, but there are others.
There's also that stereotype that extrovert people are happier in life while those who are introverts, have a less exciting or boring life. What's your point of view in that? Because sometimes it cannot necessarily be true. Introvert likes their solitude and
Mm.
enjoys themselves in that.
Actually, to answer your question, I would give you an example. Like, you go in a party and you see an extrovert person talking, socializing with people, smiling, and projecting. So now you form your understanding that's a happy person. But that that girl or boy sitting in a corner and just enjoying his or her drink and just having a chill moment, enjoying, relaxing. Oh, poor him, poor her. He is so unhappy. So what happened is we based our judgment on what we see. And this is where we can go wrong because we don't know what's happening inside. Introvert people are actually as happy as extrovert people, but they just project their happiness. They just do things differently. To give you an example, an extrovert person will recharge by talking, socializing, being that bubble, cheerful,
Yeah.
etc. But an introvert will recharge by reading a book, staying quiet, being with close people, having those quiet moments just to relax. They are equally happy. It's just that the way they project it, the way
It's
they behave is
different.
different.
Yes, but you've mentioned about neurotic earlier. Neurotic people are those who are anxious, overly self-conscious. Do you think that those people have difficulties to forge a relationship with others and therefore create, a kind of barrier in the pursuit of happiness?
Absolutely. And to give you an explanation to that, I would give you an example. If you are a kind of person who is always having those negative point of view, like someone can be happy sharing something happy, listen, we are doing this, we are happy, and then all of a sudden the person is like, yeah, but you'll fail at the end of the day because the world is such a black
Yeah.
place. As a person, you will feel quite, I'm not going to talk to that person because that person is very, this is the word we use, is very toxic because the person is influencing your health, is influencing your well-being. Or you can have a neurotic person saying to you like, why are you doing what you're doing? It's not good. You have to do it this way and blah 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 blah. What happened is, as a person, you become quite distant because you feel like the person is not understanding. The person is quite negative. So at the end of the day, what happened to the person having these neurotic traits? They find themselves alone. So this is why, but before judging, we need to say, what can we do to help these neurotic people? Because if these people don't know what's wrong, they can't change it. I've been saying that in the emission for I don't know how many times. If you don't know, you can't change. This is the reason why we come forward and say, look, you are not at fault if you have this personality, if you have this trait. But if you know what's wrong, you can go and change it. You can seek help.
Yeah. The most important thing is to know
Yeah,
what's wrong and what do
what's
you
wrong?
want actually in life.
Exactly, because You can say, oh, no one likes me, everyone just ignores me, and I'm unhappy. People say I have such a bad personality. But just ask that question, what am I doing that's making
Yeah.
other people feel this way and reacting this way to me? And once you know the answer, how can I go about change it?
So personality is something that we can change no matter how old we are.
That's some psychologists will tell you yes, others will tell you no. It depends on which approach they are using. I use a neurosemantic approach, and I believe in neuroplasticity. I will explain both. Neuroplasticity is that the brain can rewire itself with time, and neurosemantic is the structure that we use to do this programming. So this is my I'm specialized in it, and I believe in change. I've been doing this with my patients and I saw the result. If you tell me if it can change, I would say it can become stable. You can do some changes to a certain extent. You can adapt, you can twist it a little bit, but in the core essence, it might remain the same. For example, if you are an introvert, you can adapt, but from time to time, you will like your time alone. It's just adaptation that we work with professionals.
Nabila, unlike a personality, happiness is relatively an easy concept to define. It is about actually experiencing more positive, experiences than negative ones. But how is personality and well-being or happiness linked with each other?
Actually, I would challenge you in that because happiness is not such an easy topic to explain. Obviously, if you're talking with common people, they will tell you, yeah, I'm eating chocolate makes me happy. It's very superficial, but when you go to the core essence of happiness and positivity, you see that it's much more complex. Let's say, you know, life as it is, all the people watching this show today, they know how life is. If you've been experiencing positive things in life, you would also get your negative things in life. It's like a blend. If you have happy moments, you'll have sad moments. If you have
Yeah.
positivity, you'll have negativities. And happiness and positivity, being a positive person, means in time of these challenges, how do you view it?
Yes, indeed.
So, a positive person is not someone who is not experiencing any negative emotion. It's just the way they are looking at
React.
exactly the way they react, the way they think in this particular moment is positive. You can say, look, right now I have to do it again, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's such a bad thing, and na. But a different person can say, look, I take it as a challenge, is a blessing in disguise, and I move on. So that's the difference between positivity and happiness. Happiness, you can find it even in times of struggle, even in times of adversities. So see, it's not such an
I
easy
would say
concept.
that maybe happiness is a choice that you have to make. You have
Absolutely.
to choose to focus on the brighter side of life, count your blessings instead of complaining all the time.
Absolutely, that's a brilliant way of just summarizing it. That if you have happy thoughts, even in times of sorrow, even in times of struggle, if you have these positive thoughts, you just you will be able to focus on the bright side,
Yeah.
and then good things will happen.
Yes, that's
Yes,
true. I'm also a strong believer that if you have happy thoughts, you'll attract more happy things in your life.
yes, and you'll attract happy people as well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But Nabila, what are the different dimensions of well-being then of happiness?
The different dimensions of just to take it a little bit global, well-being starts in the brain. Like if you are happy, if you have positive thoughts, if you've been if you've gone through traumatic experience, you've been able to change it, you've been able to work with it, you've been able to foster to install good beliefs in your mind, positive thoughts related to whatever you're doing. That's step one of well-being. The second step of well-being is your health. Are you taking care? Because if you are not well physically, it will affect your mental health. If you're not well mentally, it will affect your physical health. So the dimensions of well-being, I would say, it starts with the brain, then to the body, then to the soul. So if these three dimensions are right in place, you will lead a happy life.
You've mentioned earlier as well that a person can change their personality. How is that possible?
A person can not necessarily change to 100%, but can work with their personality, can expand it, can do changes. How is by rewiring the brain. Let me give you an understanding of how the personality develops so that we can know how to deconstruct it afterwards. You've experienced you've gone through an experience. When you go through an experience, you develop a thought. When you develop a thought, you act upon these thoughts. You do it once, you do it twice, you do it for a third time, and it becomes automatic. When it becomes automatic, it becomes a pattern, and unconsciously you use the same behavior over and over again. Okay? So where does it come from? It comes in the brain. Now we know that it took time for it to become automatic unconscious. What if, as a psychologist, I tell you that now let's make it conscious. Why are you acting the way you are? Where does that come from? We go top. We go to the beliefs about this behavior. We go to your values. We go to your whole brain structure, to your mind. We understand why the person is behaving the way they are, and we make it conscious to them. Once it changes from unconscious to conscious, now we can work with it. Before I didn't know, now I know. So when you know, can you change it? Are you willing to change it? Why is it important for you to change it? And when they say it's important because I want a happy life, are you committed to do the change now? Yes, I am. And now, as a professional, will use techniques to help the person.
Okay.
So this is how it changed.
Yes, so these are tricks and techniques that help to rewire the mindset.
These are techniques to rewire the mindset, but to make the challenge here is to change it from unconscious to conscious. That's the main challenge here, and this is where talking to a friend, talking to your parents, talking to a teacher won't help you, because they are not equipped with the ability to change something that's unconscious, make it conscious. That's the job of a professional.
So what do you mean by professional as such?
Yeah. So if you go to, for example, I'm a clinical neuropsychologist and a mental health coach. So when a patient comes to me or a client, first of all, I would evaluate to know why the person is acting the way they are. And I would draw the mental structure. I would explain what's the mental structure and check with them. And from there, make it conscious to change it. This is what I do as a neurosemantician, as a clinical neuropsychologist. So, and then it's a whole journey of rewiring. So this is what we do in session. Now, what we say and how we do it depends on the client, depends on the patient.
Nabila, school has now resumed and students are trying to adapt with their routine, the environment, while at the same time coping with homework, expectation of parents. How can they overcome these barriers which most of the time actually exist in their mind only?
It is, first of all, I would say, don't translate parental expectations to your child and expect them to just adopt it without questioning it. Because today we are talking with modern children who has a lot of information, who are not, they are very bright, very intelligent right from the beginning. So ask your child, why do you think it's important to go to school? What is it that you want? What is it? Where do you get your inspiration? I would talk to my niece and nephew, and I would say, they would tell me every day at night on video call, Auntie, I don't want to go to school. And I would say, so let's forget about school right now. Tell me, what is it that you want to become when you grow up? And they would tell me, I want to be like you, Auntie. I want to be like Uncle. I want to be like this. And I say, if you want to be like us, you need to go to school, right? And that kid will be like, is that the only way? And I would say, unfortunately, yes. Okay. And then you say to the child, let's turn this round. How can we make school funny? How can we make school attractive? and there you adjust to them, don't just impose.
We are actually drawing towards the end of this episode, but before that, Nabila, what's your goal for 2023? Are there any changes that you hope to see among people concerning mental health?
Actually, my goal stays the same: to bring awareness, to help people, to bring more smile to people's face. This is my commitment. It's not an easy job, I would say, but my goals for 2023 is commitment to bring a change, even if it's small, even if it's one person at a time, one conversation at a time, but we'll surely get there.
And since today we've talked about personality and happiness, what's your last advice to people for them to be happy in their life?
Um, I would say reflect on yourself. Ask yourself the question: if people is acting a certain way with you, why are they doing it? If people are isolating you, why? If people are happy with you, what makes them happy? Once you get these answers, you can either change or you can amplify. So
Yeah.
learn to know yourself.
You have to be satisfied with your own self as
Yeah.
well.
Once you know yourself, once you're doing the changes, you will love yourself more.
Thank you so much, Nabila. It was a delight to have you tonight and talk about such a nice topic.
I share the same pleasure, Koya. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Dear viewers, we have now come to the end of this episode. We hope to catch you next week at the same time, same channel. Have a great evening.